is up, guys? dgwhip here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about good habits to have as a car owner, car enthusiast, how to keep your car up and running and reliable and in good shape. And these are just good habits that I practice myself that keep my car not breaking down in the middle of the road, having to call a tow truck and AAA and all that BS that nobody wants to deal with. It's never fun to be stranded and have to wait 2 hours for a tow truck. So I'm gonna teach you how not to do that in this video. Now, obviously I have a G35, I have a VQ, but this kind of goes for in general to all cars, all modern cars, how to keep them up and running and how to keep just reliable in general as a daily driver. First things first, if you're new to my channel, please click like, click subscribe. I really appreciate it. Our goal is to get into SEMA, so if you're ready to stay tuned for that, click subscribe. Also, I have a Porsche 944 build that I'm working on. It is a non-turbo, unfortunately, but it is a mint condition 944. Besides the fact it has a blown head gasket, but we're gonna talk about that in another video. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, really good habit to have. So let's go ahead and get started here on a number one thing to do with any car. Constantly check your oil, number one, but also check all of your fluid levels. Make sure all your fluid is not dirty. Make sure it's topped up and in good shape. I got my brake fluid here, is good to go. I don't want to check my oil right now because I don't have a rag or anything, and it's a VQ, so I'm not gonna get an accurate reading while warm anyway. But check your power steering fluid, your coolant overflow and all that. Obviously don't check your coolant when your car is hot, otherwise you're gonna get hot coolant in your face. But this is really key to make sure no premature damage to anything happens. Number one, if you run your car low on oil, you can run it low on oil pressure, which is very detrimental to engines, especially VQs like this that are known to burn oil. You let it run too low, you're gonna grenade the engine at some point prematurely. It's always important to have your oil topped up and clean and in good shape. Oil is the blood of your engine and your car, and having your oil clean and topped up is very, very important. So make sure you stay on oil maintenance. Number one, that's the most important thing you should be checking on daily. As far as your other fluids go, you want to make sure they're not dirty. Now, when stuff like power steering fluid gets dirty, dirt will actually start cutting through your seals at high pressures. And this will ruin seals, and it's going to cause you leaks. It's going to cause you problems. It can ruin your power steering rack, your line, seals, all that stuff. And that's not stuff you want to deal with. Leaks are a pain in the ass to fix. This shouldn't happen as long as you're keeping track of what's going on. Whenever your car's cold, check your coolant. Make sure there's enough coolant in it. Make sure the coolant is dirty. You should change that every 5 years or so. You don't gotta change the coolant super often. However, do be changing it on occasion. Make sure your brake fluid. Make sure your brake fluid doesn't get too low. If your brake fluid is getting low, that means your pads are wearing out or you have a leak somewhere. It's more commonly that your pads are getting low. You're gonna hear squeaking. Pardon my really dirty wheels. I had to go to the dirt one time and they're still dirty. I need to wash the car before I actually get it on camera so it can look presentable. But so just keep up with all your fluids and make sure it's good to go. Now, another really good habit to have is just open the engine bay every 500 miles or so and make sure you don't see anything funky going on. What I mean by this is, do you hear any weird noises coming from the engine bay? Do you see any leaks? Do you see things that are out of place or a bolt that's undone? Make sure nothing gets too bad unattended, because cars will act as dominoes and things will get slowly worse and worse over time when you let things go unattended. So you want to fix the problem immediately. For example, in one of my other videos, I had one of these hoses collapse on me, and this hose was literally collapsing under the vacuum, and it was the wrong type of hose. This is actually a fuel line hose. I believe this is gonna work for now. I need to get a hose that actually works for oil and petrol, but I think a fuel line will do good enough for now. Now I have some buildup here. I had a problem with a leak. I still have a problem with a leak. I believe it's actually this dipstick that has a bad gasket on it, and oil is actually coming out from there. It's hard to see, but it's not coming from the oil cap, and I don't think it's the valve covers. I did replace that and torque everything down and use gasket makers, so I don't believe my valve covers are leaking. And if so, that kind of sucks, but you know what I mean. Check everything, check for wear, check for weird noises, check for bolts that have came undone. Make sure everything's good to go under the hood. It never hurts to just look. Another tip, this is pretty obvious. don't ignore any warning lights on your dash. Now, I'm gonna ignore this one as this is a tire pressure monitoring light, and this just means I have a bad tire pressure monitor. I don't give one hell of a fuck. I can just check my own tire pressure manually anyway. This kind of just a luxury feature, and they're kind of expensive to fix. I'm gonna have to replace all four because I have no idea which one it is. I've had this since I bought the car. I've not cared. I really don't plan on fixing it anytime soon, so I'm just not really tripping about it at all. But if you see any check engine light, any temperature light, obviously if anything comes up right away, address it, figure out the code. If you don't have a code reader, you can take your car to AutoZone and they will check your code for free, and they will actually link up the part that you need if they happen to have the part available with the code, which is pretty neat. Also, don't ignore any sounds. If you hear any weird noise, figure out what it is and address it immediately. Having your car make a sound is kind of like your body giving off pain. That means something is wrong, and if you ignore it too long, it can cause a worse problem. Ignoring things for too long is just going to ruin your car, and I understand money can be tight, but your transportation is very important. It's very important to keep yourself safe and reliable. You don't want to be breaking down on the way to work or on an important meeting, interview, or anything like that. That's just going to give you a really bad day and time. So it's definitely worth it to always fix your car whenever something comes up, and don't let things pile up. Otherwise your car is just going to turn into a bucket, and no one wants to drive a bucket around. Now, another good tip is whenever you start your car cold, especially in colder months, let your car warm up for a little bit. Now, this isn't like when your cars were carbureted and you had chokes and all that, you literally had to warm the car up. I'm saying let the car start and run for like 10 or 15 seconds before you put it in drive or anything like that. Let your oil actually get sent up through the engine, because as your car sits overnight, all the oil actually drops down to the oil pan, and you want this oil to start recirculating and fully lubricating everything. Now, your engine is meant to run at a certain temperature. Is that a spider, my guy? Anyways, your engine is meant to run at a certain temperature. Now, you don't want to be redlining it and revving the hell out of it when you just started your car 30 seconds ago. This is very bad for your engine. Your oil is not at the right viscosity to be ran this way. You can actually prematurely damage the engine if you rev your engine too high when your car is not at operating temperature. Now, typically you want to wait around 8 to 10 minutes of driving, or like 5 or 6 miles before you start redlining and racing your car. So whenever you start your car in the morning, especially if you're in a cold month, be sure to just keep things safe. Don't rev it too hard. It's not worth it. Be patient. Let your car warm up fully. Very important. Now, when it comes to keeping your paint, interior and exterior and all that in good shape, I would say my paint is okay. It's not great, especially because someone hit my bumper. If you want to keep your paint to not fade and to not be splotchy and look crappy and start peeling and all that, you need to keep your car very clean, and you need to keep up with waxing and maintenance and all that. Now, you can go ceramic coat. I actually would do that. However, I'm gonna wrap this thing at some point, so I'm not gonna bother with that. But if you let dirt sit on your paint too long, it will actually eventually start getting embedded into the paint, especially over time, and this will slowly ruin your paint. It'll cause it to fade. It'll cause it to start looking all nasty. And this goes for your exterior as well. If you want to keep it in good shape, now I need to redo mine because the spray paint I did to paint these seats are starting to crack because it's 125 degrees outside in summer here in Vegas. Oh my god, bro, look at that. But overall, my interior is in pretty good shape. It's just dirty right now. Keep it clean. Put protectant on it. Just keep it clean. Keep cleaning it. Don't let dirt sit for too long, and try to get it out of the sun as much as you can. Get a sunshade to protect your interior from getting too hot. If you live in a desert or anywhere that gets over 100 degrees, you know the heat will kill your dash. It'll crack it. It'll make it fade, look like crap. Get a sunshade and do what you can to protect the interior. This will keep your interior in pretty good shape. Just keep it clean and be mindful of it. Now, if your paint's like mine, where it's actually pretty good but can use some buffing and stuff, that's a good way to make it really pop, is to get it polished. However, you can do it yourself if you have the right tools. I tried it myself and I wasn't really amazing at it, and I don't want to like ruin my paint or burn through the paint trying to polish it. So whenever I do detail it, I probably would just take it to a professional. Now, one of my final tips, and this is actually very key for people that get their cars over 200,000, 250,000, 300,000 miles, replace things at their intervals when you're supposed to. Now, what am I talking about? Say your car has 60,000 miles on it. It's about time to change your spark plugs. Don't wait till they start going out to change them. Change them before they go out. Same with ignition coils, same with belts, timing chains, anything that is going to go bad at some point, especially at a certain mileage. Like if you have a timing belt car, change this at 90 to 100,000 miles. You don't want to push your timing belt, because if that timing belt breaks, then bye-bye engine, right? So this is called preventative maintenance, and this is very key to having your car reliable and not have to deal with any issues. When you regularly service your car, things get replaced before they even have a chance to go bad, and you're never gonna have an issue, and you will stop these problems from even occurring. Also, whenever you're replacing something, you gotta keep in mind what you're taking apart, and do you want to put that old part back on, or do you want to replace it? Say you're taking your whole engine apart to do your head gasket or whatever, you probably want to replace your timing belt, all the gaskets, everything that goes along with that job. Just because you already did the hard part of taking things apart, you might as well put everything back with brand new parts to make sure no issues happen later and you don't have to take apart everything and you're going to hate your life. If your brakes are squealing, be sure to change them right away. Get your brake pads from AutoZone. If you are just daily driving, you don't care about performance, once you do that, you can replace your brakes for free with them. Just bring back your old brake pads and they will give you new brake pads for free for life. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Unfortunately, my outro audio was like out of whack for no reason. I'm glad I didn't do it on any other part of the video. I would have been very upset. But thank you guys again so much for watching. Please click subscribe if you're new to the channel. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.